Pfizer received $15.27 billion. Moderna received $9.99 billion. And boy, did they get a return on the American taxpayers' investment.
What's really funny about this is that Marjorie Taylor Greene comes so close to actually making a good point.
Because Pfizer, amazingly, in 2022, got a 23% increase. But in 2021, they doubled their income at a 95% increase in revenue. That's absolutely impressive, thanks to the American people. But it was Moderna's whose numbers were astounding. Moderna increased their revenue in 2020, had a 1,238% increase in revenue.
So is she going to make a good point? Is she going to maybe point out the ridiculousness of people having to pay for vaccines in the first place? Is she maybe perhaps going to point out the silliness of giving patents for vaccines? That maybe perhaps we should just treat medical care as some sort of public utility, and that we should treat pharmaceutical patents as something that's just a benefit to society, so our taxpayer dollars just go to funding research and development instead of funding profits for companies that say they're going to do research and development? Is that what she's going to do?
It's quite impressive, though, that Pfizer worldwide went from at $190 billion right there towards the beginning of 2021 and skyrocketed at the end of 2021 to $330 billion worldwide. That's quite impressive, thanks to the American taxpayer and thanks to the CDC director, Dr. Walensky, who said that vaccines were safe and effective.
Oh no! Instead of making any point that a normal person should make about how, because the government props up the entire pharmaceutical industry, that it's ridiculous that we allow anyone to profit off the pharmaceutical industry, of course Marjorie Taylor Greene turns this into some weird conspiracy about the effectiveness of vaccines. Because of course she does. Her problem isn't with a giant company making a profit. Her problem is with just the idea of vaccines. Because heaven forbid, people keep themselves and their families safe. Am I right?
I'd also like to talk to you on behalf of all the pregnant women, not people, as you call them. To quote you on August 11th, 2021, CDC encourages all pregnant people, it's women, by the way, who are thinking about becoming pregnant and those breastfeeding to get vaccinated to protect themselves from COVID-19.
That's right. You tell them, Marge. Pregnant women aren't people. Come on, what is this? Is she really trying to say, by the way, pregnant women aren't people? Yeah, people use the phrase pregnant people because I know this is a shocker and a bunch of right-wingers might freak out about it. But some of the people who can get pregnant aren't women. Oh my god, it's so surprising to hear this information. No, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just stumbling over her words, calling pregnant women not people, because of course she wants to have some sort of epic own or dunk on trans people.
This has also been ignored. The amount of miscarriages and stillbirths that increased drastically due to your advice to get vaccinated. Pregnant women again, not people.
Okay, so now at this point, Marjorie Taylor Greene just decides to spew a bunch of misinformation about the vaccines, and while she gets corrected later on, there is just the reality that we have elected officials who are willing to just completely undermine institutions like the CDC when it comes to reporting basic facts about the vaccines and safety of vaccines, and it's just deeply, deeply infuriating. But fundamentally, the right wing depends on these ridiculous conspiracy theories. Now, why do they depend on these conspiracy theories? Because at the end of the day, they can't let capitalism be the explanation for problems that we face as a society. It couldn't possibly be that coronavirus was made actively worse because of the pressure to keep markets open to serve the interests of capitalism. No. It had to, of course, possibly be this evil conspiracy, either from China or from the pharmaceutical companies to sell vaccines or to undermine America. Same thing with the other conspiracy theories around vaccines that people push about, like, oh, they're causing autism or they're causing people to be gay and trans. Oh my goodness. But of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is incapable of addressing that core reality because she is part of a dedicated group of right-wingers who are insistent on pushing conspiracy theories in order to prevent people from actually realizing the real problem. The real problem is that pharmaceuticals should be nationalized. It does not make sense to have a private patent system for things that are literally life-saving pharmaceuticals. But of course, she can't acknowledge that because she's actually fine with these giant companies making a profit, which is why she has to push ridiculous conspiracies. And that unfortunately is something that is all too common in the United States today. Instead of actually addressing the root core of capitalism and its consequences, the political right in the United States uses a lot of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories to scapegoat for all of the problems that are caused by capitalism itself.